My average sobriety date of December 29, 2020, and I come from divorced parents, and I don't even remember them being married. That's how young I was when they got divorced. But I come from a typical Mexican family. A lot of partying and a lot of drinking on the weekends, so it was pretty normal to me. The only difference is that my dad's side of the family, the drinking on that side is like hiding it and drinking to die. And on my mom's side of the family is parties and social drinking. So yeah, so drinking was fairly normal, so into high school I drank quite a bit, and like a normal high school kid, and experimented with drugs here and there. And what ended up happening is as soon as I graduated from high school, I started drinking a little bit more, and I felt I had a problem, I felt it was, it got from my dad, but I always made these boundaries for myself, that I would never cross, or I thought I would never cross. And as soon as, I graduated from high school, I got this good job, and I was making good money. I was like 18 and making, should I say, I was making more than my dad at the time, but I was partying a lot, and I ended up getting fired, and I remember my solution was I need to get the hell out of Orange County, I had to get out of here. So what did I do as soon as I got out of there? I went and I signed up for the Marines, and it was right during Desert Storm, when it first started, and I didn't have a conversation with my mom about it, and man, she was fucking pissed, So I got home, I was like, hey mom, I should have gotten 2 weeks. She's like, what do you mean? I signed up for the Marines, and so anyway, so I got in there, my mom kind of got over it, but I remember I was in boot camping, I remember the whole reason I joined is to get the hell out of Orange County, and I did all my basic training, went through all my Marine combat training, and the day they were handing out stations, they're like, private Lopez, you're going to Tustin, California. So anyway, so that's when my drinking really started. That's when I really got trained, where I honed my drinking skills. And man, for 4 years, all I was doing was getting in trouble for drinking. The consequences just kept getting worse, And I remember I was, I think I had like restriction like back to back for like 2 years consecutively, and by this time I had 4 DUIs piled up, and I had been introduced to AA at this point. It was in the back of my head, but I never really did anything with it. And so towards the end there, I had no money, because when any of you guys in the military know that when you're on restriction, you take all your pay, So it's like, fuck, what do I do? So I started robbing around base and stealing from people's cars and shit, and I ended up getting caught. And I got court-martialed, and in there's no double jeopardy, so they called up all the shit that I had done during those 4 years, and sure enough, I got thrown in the brig for like a year, and I got a bad conduct discharge. But I had 6 months after I got out of the brig to process out of the Marines. So during that time, a friend of mine was like, hey, my brother-in-law wants a couple guys to go work on his gutter, so why don't you come along? And I wasn't doing shit. I was waiting to get processed out, so I went in and helped on a weekend, and I still work at this company today, and my boss, he offered him a job, and he's like, no, I don't want a job, I want you to offer it to him. So I took the job, and I've been there ever since, but I was like, okay, this is it, I got a job right before I get out of the Marines, perfect, and I'm just gonna change everything, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have kids, by this time I had met this gal, and it was getting kind of serious, and so, yeah, it did get serious. I ended up being married to her for 24 years and had triplets, so I was like on this new level, like I had it all, I had a marriage, the kids, and the responsibilities were like freaking crazy, right, caring for triplets. So there I go, I was working, minimum of 70, 80 hours a week, and the drinking was still there, and I think I picked up a couple more DUIs by this point, and God, it just seems like every year I was like trying to square my license away, but anyways, like in 2006, my kids are 6 now, a lot of drinking and some drugs in between. I think I had done one rehab, outpatient rehab, and you know, my boss told me from the get-go, that shit doesn't work. You need to go to AA. He'd always say that rehabs don't work. Go to AA. And but you know, I never listened. So in 2006, you know, my boss was, you know, he's got over 4 years sobriety, and I guess you know, he's doing this bucket list trip to Africa, and I remember it was the day before Father's Day, and I was in a brand new company truck. You know, I've been waiting for a new truck for shit for like 5 years, and finally got one. And I remember that weekend I was working, and we were drinking after the job, and I went and dropped all these guys off, and he was just landing in Africa when I was just crashing into some cars on his truck on the freeway, and you know, I was looking at a felony hit and run that time, and yeah, I thought I was in deep shit, man, and I was, you know, I had to pay a lot of shit, a lot of restitution and jail time and all that shit, but man, it wasn't enough to keep me sober, man. And I think my idea was, you know, people can't tell me to drink. You know, I'm the kind of guy that it doesn't matter how much I drink the night before or whatever. I always go to work, you know, and I provide for my family. So I felt like I had the right to do whatever I wanted, right to drink whenever I wanted. People can't tell me shit. And that's just kind of how I live, you know. And so, you know, I got a little scared after 2006, you know, and I did straighten up for like about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then I started drinking again. So I mean, fast forward, you know, all this shit, you know. By 2018, one of the boundaries that I said I would never cross was my dad died of heart disease from drinking, and I had a couple uncles who died from drinking, and their thing was just hard liquor. You know, I remember I would wake up, my dad would be like 3 a.m, and my dad would be sitting there drinking his vodka, like fucking scared the shit out of me, going to the bathroom, he's like in the living room with his hand on his, you know, and but he would always get up and go to work, and I never, you know. And I didn't understand it until I got older and I was drinking, and I'd be doing the same shit, you know. But one of the lines that I said I would never cross was to drink hard liquor, and I got to that point, you know. Before you know it, I was drinking just as much as he was, you know, every night. And by 2018, I was a freaking hot mess. A lot of shit happened from early on to that point. But at that point, my marriage was over. I ended up leaving, but you know, ended up getting divorced. But what ended up happening is in 2020, for 2 years there, the only reason I kind of held on so long between 18 and 20 is because I had this ankle surgery and I had a knee surgery like back to back. So I stayed home and drank, you know, for that whole time. So I wasn't giving my boss a chance to fire me, you know. So 2020 rolled around, and the ultimatum was there this time, you know, and I knew he was serious. Like, this is it. He's like, he always goes hunting during Christmas time. He goes, this is it. When I get back from hunting, if you're still fucked up, you're out of here. So I gave myself that weekend, that Christmas week, right? I'm gonna fucking get it all out of my system, and January 1st of the year I'll be sober and fucking I'll come back. I'll be good. But I didn't quite make it to the first of the year. What ended up happening is I got you know, with being when I drank, it's like the you know, liquor bone's connected to the meth bone, and you know, so on and so forth. So yeah, I did some stuff, you know, that weekend, and shit, I went into psychosis, which I had never experienced before. I was fucking seeing people that went there, and I was up for like 7 days, and I remember I had to go to the hospital. They had to put me down, and then I slept for like, I don't know, 4 days or something. But I came back on January 1st, and I was like, clean right for like 1 day or something. And you know, I ended up walking into the rooms on the 29th, the day before New Year's. And I asked for help. It's the first time I had actually ever walked up to somebody and asked for help. It was in Alana Club in Garden Grove, and that's where my journey started. And what was different this time around, it was freaking weird because it was during 2020, right? The pandemic was like the end of the world shit, you know, and like everything about it was different, you know. Like fucking walking to the meetings, those Zoom meetings, like what the hell is this? And but that, because it was so different, as I think I kind of like held on just because I was like interested in what was happening, the weirdness about it, right? So I found myself a sponsor, and I took direction for the first time in my life. And one of the things that always scared me was that fourth step, you know, and that's always seems like whenever I try to work the program, when I get to that fourth step, I bounce. You know, I wasn't about to tell some stranger all the weird shit I did when I was using or drinking, you know, so. But I got into that fourth step, man, and I did 90 meetings in 90 days. And, you know, by the time, you know, I was working on my steps and got through that fourth step and did all my amends and all that shit. And man, like, next thing you know, a year rolled by and I was still going to a meeting every day. And my whole life was changing, you know. And I think for me, it's like, as soon as I did that fourth step, is like when everything just kind of changed, like my whole perspective on shit changed, and the anger was gone, the resentments were lifted, you know, and man, it's like I found peace for the first time in like my life, you know, and yeah, just everything changed, you know, and I found a group of guys in the city of Orange, and everything just started happening, like all these like weird coincidences, and shit would just start like unfold, like just, you know, in a good way, things just started unraveling, and like I found this dude. I met this guy in AA, and I needed a place to live, and he just happened to have a spare bedroom, and I'm still living with him today. We've been roommates for 3 years now. And it's like perfect living condition. I have a good relationship with my ex-wife. It's like fucking that's weird all in itself, and my kids are talking to me again, you know, and they call me like every week, you know, or my daughter calls me like every other day, and yeah, man, things are good, and it's all because I finally worked these programs from 1 to 12, you know, and I accepted this program. It works, you know. I always thought I wasn't that I wasn't like you guys, you know, because, you know, I have a job, and you know what I mean? It's weird, man. Yeah, so, you know, things still happen now, you know. A lot of stuff happens in my life, but I know how to cope with it. I have all these tools in my bag, you know, and I know how to use them. And I have a lot of people to call, and I do a daily gratitude list, and I go through my daily, you know, reflection of my day, and see where I did wrong, and you know, I always try to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. And that's how I try to live, you know. And yeah, man, I'm planning for you guys getting sober, man, get a sponsor, do the work, it'll change your life.